is basically takes things that should be vertical. You can just draw this line right along the edge of this, and it'll make it vertical. It works the same way horizontally. You just draw along the horizon line and click apply, and it's done. So here we've actually straightened the bridge, and it's not falling over anymore. That's exactly what we were looking for. I'm going to grab a tool called Smart Photo Fix, have it suggest some settings changes. You'll see that it immediately brightened the photo up a fair amount. I also like to usually deepen the shadows just a little bit, and in this case I'm going to up the saturation a little bit as well. I'm going to grab the mouse here and roll out, and you can see the greens down in the bottom here that makes it look just that much better. The last thing I'm going to do is I'm going to grab the thing called color balance, and I'm going to go ahead and warm the scene slightly, and that'll bring out a little more color in the ground down here and make the colors pop just a little bit more. So with just a few easy clicks, we've made a significant change in what this photo looks like, and have made it very useful very, very quickly. I'm going to grab this picture of a fountain now and show you a few things that we can do with that. It's an acceptable photo of a fountain. It's possibly leaning just a little bit. You know how to fix that at this point using that straighten tool. Let's take a look at a couple of other things about it. It's kind of dark, and it's kind of bland. So let's see if we can light it up a little bit, make it pop. First, let's go ahead and use that Smart Photo Fix again. Let's have it suggest some settings. I'm going to play a little bit again with the saturation, because that's the way I like to adjust photos. It's up to you on how far you want to go with it. But notice the water and the sky is still kind of blending together here. Let's try a different tool. There's a tool here called Local Tone Mapping. If you're using X2, this is called Clarify. It's not available in your palette in the Express Lab. It's available in the full editor, but it's the same basic functionality. Local tone mapping technically takes pixels that are in the photo, compares them against other pixels in that same photo to get the greatest differentiation between those pixels. Don't worry about the technical stuff on it. It's used a lot of times with high dynamic range or HDR type of photography, exposure merging on photos, and that sort of thing. But we can also apply it to a single photo. So again, don't worry about the technical stuff. Just take a look at whether or not it fits your needs for what you're trying to do. In this particular case, you see the water down here, up here, you see the clouds. Let me go ahead and take the local tone mapping, and I'll just push it all the way up, and you'll see a fairly dramatic change very quickly. You actually see separation between the water in the foreground and the clouds. It doesn't all blend together. The clouds become very dynamic and very visually interesting as far as I'm concerned. And you can see trees and other changes in the photo as well. Let me just back that off and then put it back up again, and you can see that change. Now, if that's something that you like, go for it. It can easily be overdone. It can also easily add a lot of depth and excitement to your photos very, very easily. Now, a couple of other things we can do this scene. We can, again, grab our color balance. We can warm or cool the scene depending on what you like. I'll just make it a little bit warmer. And then I'm also going to click on the brightness and contrast sliders, and I'm going to give it just a little more contrast. And again, from where we started on this photo, which was fairly bland and not well lit, it's now got a lot of dynamic range to it and a lot of pop. So if you like that type of look, those are some tools that you can use to make that happen. All right, let me hop over to another photo here. I'm going to go to this stream photo in this particular case. Again, interesting. This is done with a timed exposure. It kind of gives us a little bit of a cellophane-like look in the back here in this water. Excuse me. But it is, again, a little dark and doesn't have a lot of pop to it. So let's take that Smart Photo Fix again, suggest the settings, let it light it up a little bit. Let's saturate it a little bit more. That brings out some of the greens over here a little bit more. Give it a little bit more shadow. Yeah, that looks pretty good. I'm going to hit it with the local tone mapping again, just to give it some more of that dynamic range to it. And I'll probably go up to about that point on the slider. And then I'm going to go click on the color balance and adjust that a little bit just to bring out a little bit more color in the rocks. Again, the whole idea here that you should be seeing is that it's easy, it's quick, hop in, make a few changes, take the photo from okay photo to, hey, that's really interesting, that's visually stimulating, that's an exciting photo to look at. So have fun with it, enjoy it, it's your taste, go ahead and come up with what it is you want to make the photo look like. It's very easy. One last thing I'm going to show you in the Express Lab area is some photo retouching for portraits. Now, portrait photography is an interesting area. How do you take a snapshot of a person and take that to something that might want to go on their wall at home or go in their portfolio or what have you? So there's a lot of easy touch-ups you can make. There's a lot of changes you can make to clean up things on a photo. The key is probably going to talk to the person you're doing the photo for first. There's things that you can change in a photo, like removing freckles or moles or other characteristic things about that person. You kind of want to check with them first if they want to have those changes made. If they do, we've got great tools to go ahead and let you move those things, but don't pre-assume that the person didn't really want to have freckles after all and remove them all before they see the photo. So in this case, we've loaded up a photo. The young woman is shot in what's called open shade. It's middle of the day, but there's she's actually standing in an open overhang of a building so that there's not a lot of direct sunlight. There's a little bit of a reflector being used on the lower right-hand side just to give a little bit of a highlight on the face. That's coming through quite nicely. Overall, great composition, great look. Overall, perfect candidate for baking this into what we could call a real portrait of this person. So let's grab some tools here and play with it. Smart Photo Fix. In this particular case, if I do a suggest settings, it's going to make a lot of different changes that I don't probably want to have. So I'm going to go ahead and just update just deepen the shadows a little bit, give us a little bit more definition, and I'm going to saturate it a little bit more, bring out a little bit more of that olivey sort of skin tone. That's probably the best way to do it. I don't need it brightened a great deal in this particular case. So with that, let's look at some tools for making edit changes that we have available. Now, if we had red eye in this particular photo, we have a red eye tool down here, very easy to click in it. Generally, if you're not shooting with on-camera flash, you're not going to have a lot of red eye that you need to clean up. In this case, I'm going to go with the makeover tools. I'm going to go into the blemish fixer first. I'll come back for toothbrush and eye drop in a little bit, but blemish fixer is something that's a fairly powerful tool to play with. I'm going to roll in on the photo a little bit here, and I do that just by using the mouse to roll in. And of course, you've got the zoom tool down here you can use as well. But just by pointing to where I want to go and rolling in, I can do that. Now you'll see that the the tool actually has two circles, and those two circles are used to the inner circle is what's going to be changed. The outer circle is the source that you're going to use to actually edit that piece on the inner circle. The idea is to use as small a brush as possible so as to completely encircle the thing that you're trying to change, but also to not pick up too wide of an area. It won't blend very well if you pick up bits of an eyebrow or other things. You want to have it as much skin around and that type of an edit. In this case as well, the strength tool allows you to adjust how much blending you're going to be getting, how much of an effect, how hard, if you will, the brush is going to be. So I'm going to use not a full-on strength for it, but I'm going to use a little bit of strength, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to click, and there it is. It's gone. So this is useful for removing very small changes which just are adding texture to the face.